Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review, we are looking at the Marvel Legends Retro Carded TIGRA figure. And this one's an interesting one because I wasn't going to get it. I mean, I was going to get it eventually, but I wasn't really keen on getting it until a bunch of my viewers told me, and I suspect they might have been trolling me now, that this is like one of the best Marvel Legends to release in a long time, and I just had to review it, and it was so good, and yada yada yada, all this good stuff about it. And I got it. And I have to tell you, my first impression is it's not that good of a figure and it looks like a Cheeto. So let's go ahead and get it off the stand and take a closer look. This figure stands just about 6¼ inches, which is going to make her just about, just shy of 16 centimeters. And I have to say, this doesn't look anything like what I expected it to look like. I mean, short of seeing the preview images of the figure. It doesn't look like the character. It's the wrong color entirely. Like, not just a little bit. She is freaking orange. She is Tony the Tiger orange. I can't remember in a single instance where I've seen TIGRA Cheeto orange. This is just not... It's not a thing. Maybe you could get away with this color orange as a shade on her with some airbrushing and everything else make it lighter. But no, this is what she looks like all the time. And this figure, this drawing right here doesn't even make her especially curvy, and she's not usually, she's fairly lean. She has no hips in that drawing, but she does have good muscle definition, and that's a common thing, other than the early artwork where they didn't give any of the females super defined muscles. That's how I expected her to look. This figure has virtually no sculpt work on it, other than little tufts of hair that they added to say, hey, it's fur. Look at the face though. Like, it doesn't look like her. This looks like some like Barbie or something. I don't know what they were going for here. Is there some version of young TIGRA that looks like this? Because that's what I expected her to look like, which is mostly what this looks like. But even then, the likeness is very questionable. That just looks like somebody crunching out a dumper. I don't understand what's going on here. Whoever told me this was one of the best Marvel Legends, I'm positive at this point I was being trolled. Because it just looks awful. Is it because the line work on the black stripes is clean? It is, but it's not that good. Yeah, there's a version of TIGRA where it's just on the outside. That's fine, but they don't even look like any sort of tiger stripes or anything like that. I don't understand what happened. And then, like, okay, I'm going in on this figure because of everybody telling me it was so good. Look at the lines on the face. You see how they have like little jagged edges to make it look like fur? None of the other lines have that. They are all just straight lines. And she doesn't have fur on 90% of her body. As far as the sculpt of the fur goes, we have some on her shoulders. It's super faint. I don't think there's any on her bicep area. A little bit on her mismatched colored elbow. A little bit on her forearm. Like the tiniest little tuft. A little bit on the hand. Any on the hip? I don't think so. Any on the thigh? Only down here at the top of the knee. It's like they just used a little alpha brush in ZBrush and added a little tuft of fur where they thought they could get away with like adding the littlest. Like, why? I don't understand what happened here. There's none on her legs except for right back here. Like, that's it. One little spot right there. On the feet, the faintest little bit on the tops of the feet. They didn't paint the claws white down here. They didn't paint the claws white on her fingers. Is there any fur on her torso? None on her chest. And none on her upper torso, or abdomen, or chest. None there at all. So what is this? This is a throwaway trash figure as far as I'm concerned. It doesn't look like the character. There was no effort put into the sculpt. Minimal effort put into the paint. Zero shading. The paintwork for the little claw thingies here, it's clean enough. Her little bikini thing is clean enough. That's fine. Like, the eyes are clean, but they don't look like her, and they're a little googly. And on this face, it's clean enough, but again, it doesn't look like her. So what the heck? What the heck? And then, like I said, there's no muscle definition in her torso, in her thighs, in her arms. There's nothing. And then as far as the chesticles go, and again, this isn't about we need big boobs on figures. The size is fine, but that's not how you sculpt that, because apparently there's just no cleavage doesn't exist anymore. That's not a thing. Apparently, what we have now is just a giant chest lump with a tiny divot in the middle. So I don't understand what's going on. Like, there's just no... The original Cheetah figure that Hasbro did forever ago beats this one in terms of sculpt work. Yeah, it's riddled with other problems, but like the abdomen and the cleavage, it looks like a real person. This doesn't. This looks terrible, and I don't think there's much good about it at all other than a matte finish, and the lines are clean. So I'll give it an aesthetic rating of a generous 5 out of 10. There's no shape to it. It doesn't look like much of anything. That doesn't look like a superhero type person. That just looks like a thin girl, like that you could see at any pool in any town across the country. Doesn't look like a superhero. Definitely not a furry one. Maybe a Cheeto. Okay, so as far as accessories go, we have the 2 claw hands and the 2 fist hands. Not exactly impressive, and then we do get the alternate head, which I already showed you, which has nice hair, slightly more accurate face sculpt, but still doesn't quite look like the person. So, 5 out of 10. Now, as far as articulation goes, we do get the double ball peg neck. However, almost no range because it was terribly implemented. Terribly. I'm not going to go into necks again. I've done it so many times. Like, double ball pegs, good. Poorly implemented double ball pegs, almost no range at all. That's terrible. It has virtually 0 range. Because the ball down here needs to be so much bigger, and the opening for the peg to move around in needs to be so much bigger. They made it about as small as they possibly could. So you get virtually no range. You get your rotation, and then almost nothing else. It's so limited. The shoulders, slightly better than horizontal, so that's okay. You do get your full rotation. Bicep swivel is fine. Double jointed elbow is going to be fine, I'm sure. It's a little stuck, but it does work, so that's okay. You get your full range. Wrists have a swivel and a hinge. I sure hope you guys can't hear that noise outside. Somebody's using a leaf blower, and it is probably the loudest leaf blower ever. I'll try to edit that out, but hopefully you can't hear it and don't even know what I'm talking about. Now, the torso joint, they did do a good job. I believe it's just a single peg that connects from down here and uses the ball down here, which is the way to do it, and you get really good range out of that. Very, very nice. They could have done another one down here in the abdomen and given her even better range, but this is still really good. The gaps are acceptable because they need to happen at some point, and it has at least as good range as you would get from an ab crunch these days. So I like that a whole bunch. The tail I'm not thrilled about because it has a 90-degree bend in it that makes it hang straight down, which looks super weird. And if you peg it all the way in, you kind of lose that 90-degree bend. But as you move it around, it just pops it back out. So why not just a ball peg? Why? And why not just like a normal, natural curve? Why does it have a 90-degree bend? Like, just weird stuff like that. Why not just curve it? Why does it have it? It looks broken. So weird. All right, so the hips, they go out only about 45 degrees. Little bit more than 45, just a touch. If you go like this, a good way to test is that a 90 degree, and it's just better than a 90 degree. So limited range for a cat-based character, not really cool. Same thing as Spider-Man usually. Legs don't go all the way forward, so again, limited range. They don't go back at all. Thigh swivel is fine. Double jointed knee is fine, though more limited than I would like on a cat-based figure. Ankles do go all the way back, so that's good. And they go pretty far forward. That's good, and the ankle rocker is really solid. So that's all good. Articulation is average. I'll give it a 7, except for the neck being screwed up. It's fine. It's not good. It's not bad. It's on the middle of the good scale. So 7. Yeah, this figure is not in any way impressive. The fact that it has mismatched knees and elbows and is the wrong color and has a bad head sculpt and missing paint for the claws and no sculpt work throughout and the fur sculpt is missing just about everywhere, I don't see really any reason to get this other than it's in some ways, a few ways better than the relatively bad figure from before. But that figure, which I can't find, I spent tens of minutes looking for it. I'll just post an image for you guys. I'm sure I have at this point already. That figure was better than this one in some ways, at least in the sculpt for the abdomen and the upper chest, the chesticles. So I don't get it. Yeah, final verdict on this figure, 5 out of 10. I don't see why anybody would really want this, unless they're a really big fan of the character and just need to have something that is in some ways better. But all the other people out here, it's not worth it. I can only imagine that people were trolling me when they said this was such a good figure, or they were just smitten by the fact that it's a lady in a bikini and kind of like a furry thing, and maybe there's a lot of that going on these days. I don't know. I've stopped trying to guess what's going on in the general public these days, but this figure is not not it. So there it is, guys. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please do give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, please give it a thumbs down. And if you haven't subscribed, you might want to. I have new videos almost every single day and thousands already on the channel. So make sure you come back for all of that. In the meantime, keep collecting.